Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Happiness Journey with Dr. Dan podcast, where every journey is worth living. My name is Dr. Dan, and I'm your host for today's episode. I'm a bilingual cognitive behavior and neurolinguistic programming practitioner specializing in anger management issues, both court-appointed and private, marriage and relationship coaching, dissociative disorders, narcissistic personality disorders, depression, anxiety, dream analysis, and also provide life, business, and retirement coaching support. I provide individual one-on-one sessions in both French or English, and also do group settings. If you need any assistance, reach out to DMB Therapy and Coaching Services at 301-325-1550, and our website can be found on lifecoach.drdanamzallag.com. Today, I'm very excited to have for our fourth episode of season 32, a very special guest and foreigner having to immigrate on their own to the United States at a very young age, dealing with the challenges of growing up with no support, having to face sexual abuse early in their years, and the deep psychological impact on their self-esteem, body image, and future relationship. And we have Mrs. Fooja Zeine, and just like every of my past episode, I will leave it up to the guests to probably introduce themselves, as no one can do a better job. Fooja, the floor is yours.
Hi, Dan, and hello, everybody. Thank you. Thank you for having me here. Yes, I am a psychotherapist and a coach, and have founded a particular psychology model because I went to heal myself and I needed a lot of healing. So every therapy I went, every work that I've ever done throughout all of these years led itself to create a psychology model and an educational model that heals, reduces depression, anxiety, and trauma, and builds self-esteem and self-efficacy and agency where I really needed it. And we have a Foojan App, which people can go through 31 areas of their life. And I have an AI chatbot. I'm a co-founder of Foojan Inc., an author, and I speak across the world about how to heal yourself. So the model has created an efficiency in how to heal yourself and not have to go through 30 years of healing, but they're much quicker and deeper.
Well, Fujat, thank you so much for being here today. And I think definitely your own personal subjective experience, I hope, will inspire our million of listeners out there, especially those who are dealing with childhood trauma, which I would assume that you did as well. And what makes it even more challenging is that you came from a foreign country to come to the US at a young age, to be able to having to deal with all the different the different language here in the US, unless if you already spoke English, but still, what in terms of childhood trauma? Now, I know that in psychotherapy, there's a lot of different modalities such as CBT, DBT, EMDR, NLP. We have like ACT, REBT. I mean, these are all acronyms that anyone can actually research. But is there one in particular that you use in terms of the modality to be able to help someone with childhood trauma?
I've kind of combined the concepts together because when I went through therapy, I obviously went through psychodynamic where, they would go through the traumas, but then I went through hypnosis. I learned hypnosis and I went through hypnosis working with my own trauma and with many of the clients. And then I got trained in eye movement desensitization reprocessing, EMDR. And obviously, I think everybody's trained somehow in cognitive behavioral therapy. So brought all of those kind of together in looking at when something happens, there's an experience that happens to not only our ego, our identity, it happens to our body, it happens to every cell and every organ in our body has an impact on it. It happens in our soul. So there's so many layers that each one of these modalities would actually look at, like what did I make at BB when, I was 3 years old, first time I was, sexually abused. I had no idea what it meant. It was more about the person and the weirdness of it versus, oh, I had an idea about what sexuality was. However, it became part of how I was operating. So it was more about what does it mean to have somebody who is close to you in the family do this versus somebody who was, an outsider. the threat concepts, the danger zones were not picking up any cues. So obviously a lot of that affected as I was a teenager, as I came to US alone at age 12. So what was I doing? How was I protecting myself? And then basically I made it to be that I'm not good enough. Obviously, there's something wrong with me. So the meanings and the belief systems around these ideas were something that needed to be delved into and questioned. And then I always also looked down at my vulnerabilities. I never kind of looked at my strengths. So part of the model of awareness integration, which I created, is not only to accept and acknowledge and care for our vulnerabilities and powerlessness at that moment that I had as a 3-year-old, 5-year-old, 8-year-old, even 12-year-old, moving alone to a new country, but also the strength, the resiliency, and the power that at that moment, the strategic power of making decision to survive. And I come from also a background of, a family of addiction. So I could have easily, and I can consider myself, someone with an addiction where I started with cigarette smoking and nicotine. And, because I knew that it didn't get anywhere else, but I could have easily gone any of those areas. So there was a part of me that wanted to survive, that wanted to excel. I needed my brain not to be numbed. I needed my brain to be sharp in order to, to protect me. So these were all the strengths that I also had. And part of the trauma work is to be able to also access not only the vulnerabilities, but to access every single strength and strategy that also made me be who I am. To utilize EMDR, to utilize hypnosis, to utilize, and then body work to really, because although we clear a lot of the cognition and the emotions, but, for people who've been abused physically or sexually, their body was impacted, and the body holds the memory. Every cell and every muscle in the body also holds memory. So there's the interconnection of how to bring all of it and be able to release, to be able to reframe, to be able to shift the attention completely from the vulnerable side to the strength side, and have that kind of inner compassion and healing in every angle of, how you treat yourself. Not only how you treat yourself in your mind and your thought, how you treat yourself when you have different types of emotion and you actually do need to regulate emotions, how to treat yourself when the triggers show up while, you're just sitting and enjoying, and you watch a movie and rage comes out of you, or, deep amount of sadness comes, or fear comes, and you have no idea what just happened to you, and how to deal with that emotion, and how to heal it, calm it down, name it, release it, and how to be with your body. I have always had this issue of gaining weight and, numbing myself with the food, and then, trying to nurture myself with the food, obviously with the wrong foods, and then learning how to be with my body, how to love my body versus getting out of it, right? Because with sexual trauma, many people, possibly I experienced it, and other people, that I left my body.
Yes.
I would just kind of like leave and go on top of the roof and kind of watch the whole thing from there. And, I wouldn't even come back to my body. So a lot of times, I was only in my head, and from my neck down, it was numb. I would just, go by day. It took a lot of physical, deep massages, rolfing, body energy work for me to actually even come back to my body. And then right when I came back to my body, there was a lot of pain. I would feel pain and I would leave again. Or I would feel a lot of, intense emotions and I would leave again. So this concept of learning how to contain the emotion and the pain, and staying, and then healing, and then loving it, and even, caressing it and being nice to it. Learning when I'm tired and I actually I need to sleep, or I need to rest, and how to exercise. And every single part was almost relearned because I left my body for so long.
I see. Now, do you think that those who have suffered from childhood abuse, sexual abuse, or whatever, do you think that they will, as they grow older, they will start having some kind of triggers that remind them that they've gone through something traumatic? Well, as you said earlier, Fooja, you thought that was normal, that was okay, until you start maturing and realizing that what happened when you were young, that was not right. So do people at a certain age, their brain send them a trigger to say, hey, what I've experienced was traumatic, and then you start experiencing the symptoms of it?
I think that in our adulthood we start, and I think adulthood starts somewhere around, 28.
Mhm.
Our brain capacity kind of completes its fruition until about 28, 30s. I mean, we thought it was 25, but I think neuroscience is adjusting that number of 28, 30. And I think experientially, I know that 30s were like, wow, it was a whole different way of who I was and how I was looking at myself. And I've been a therapist for 30 years, and I see this, that reflection, introspection comes back, or comes around that type of 28, 30. So I think at that time, our body starts triggering us and saying, hello, there are things you got stuck somewhere and you need to handle it. And if you don't handle it, then it will turn into chronic, either physical ailment or chronic something, the emotional, which then it gets physical, because your body will knock at the door consistently. And it
Mhm.
will get triggered by people talking to you in a particular way, people at work talking to you a particular way, or acting a particular way. Or again, like I said, you watch TV or you watch a movie, and that sensation comes. Many people get activated then when they have their own children and their child is at the same age that they got abused. Suddenly there's like a flood of memories that show up because now they see their own child, and it brings up a lot of like implicit memories that were there, and it all kind of shows up. So yes, the body, your psyche needs to get healed, and it will knock at the door.
I see. And so there's no escaping it, huh, Fusha?
People try to escape it with drugs, alcohol, food, sex. They try to distract themselves. But if you don't handle it between 28 and up, it will get you in the midlife,
Oh,
around
that
50s.
far out.
Around 50s, why do you call it midlife crisis? Because if you haven't handled, it'll come in and, it'll knock you.
So is that where all the midlife crises come from? Is because of unresolved trauma, and then they try to buy themselves either a Porsche or buy themselves something crazy that is out of their normal behavior? Is that where what we call the midlife crisis?
I would call, definitely, and it doesn't even have to be trauma. It's all the unresolved concepts where, like we're growing up in a society. The society tells us to be a particular way. So we form our identity based on the society, do whatever told us to do, and kind of miss a lot of different parts of ourselves. So even if it wasn't a trauma, if it was trauma, absolutely. But even for people who didn't necessarily have trauma,
Mhm.
they still left part of themselves. They didn't attend to different parts of themselves because they needed to be part of the society and kind of groom themselves toward it. So around midlife, which I think is growing a little bit from 50 to all the way like a Google from 50 to 60s, where they did what they needed to do for the society. They've either accomplished it or didn't accomplish it, but they took that route. And after that is like, now what about the rest of me? And if they don't attend it from a healing and accepting place, then again, it'll come knock at the door and sometimes blasts the door down, which is, you got to see me, like you got to see this other parts. And if it was a trauma, then yes, then all of the other parts of you which were vulnerable will also show up.
But then here's the thing, because we're being not forced, but we're being brainwashed by society about what is okay to talk about, what is okay to feel, what is okay to, what kind of career we should do, what kind of this, what kind of that, how much money we should make. And we're being constantly berated with all of what ideal human being or citizen or whatever it is should be. And we don't allow ourselves to live our own individual life because we always try to compare ourselves to others. And social media is definitely not helping nowadays, Pooja, and all the other friends or family are telling you, hey, you know what? Why are you thinking this way? This is completely out of your nature. And because we try to think outside the box, we're being shoved back inside that box, and that box of what we feel is normalcy. So how can we escape, Fooja, from this expectation that people have on us to be able to live the life that we see fit?
Don't think we can escape it because we live in a society. We live among people, and we don't want to be isolated. And isolation by itself also becomes a lot of injuries for us. So the need to be seen by others, it's very healthy. So therefore, I don't think we can escape it, but we can certainly integrate it. And that's part of the model that I created, which is awareness integration, which is integrating the different parts of us, almost like, can I find who I am from all parts of me, heal myself inside, and then decide and choose in every role that I play all day, right? Like I play a therapist role, I play a wife role, I play a mother role, I play this role, I play that, right? I play a citizen role. These are all roles that I've chosen to play at work, right? I play a businesswoman at work. I play an employer at work. So all of these roles, then I can see who am I and who do I intend to be in these roles? Who do I choose to be? And with that choosing to be in a particular role, that role has to adapt and cooperate with a society that I'm living in, because it's not just me isolated thinking I'll do whatever I want to do, because whatever I do, it also impacts the people who are around me, such as the same as their actions impact me. But if I can be true to who I am, my needs, what I aspire, what my values are, what values do I want to live by? When I integrate internally and I'm not separated, I'm not all, kind of like wounded and separated and react, but really be a whole inside, then I could say in the podcast that Dan has beautifully invited me, he's going to tell me what his audience want from me. So who I am shows up collaborating with Dan because he knows his audience, he knows his work, right? So now it's a collaboration of me not only fulfilling my needs, but also fulfilling yours.
Okay.
Or if does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense, actually. But here's the situation that is increasingly difficult, and this is what I see more and more in my own practice, is that because of what others are expecting from us, and because of how we see our life to be, our ideal life to be, and stop comparing ourselves or catching up or keeping up with the Joneses and this and that, we have the tendency that because all of what is being expected from us causes us to have too much anxiety, then to be able to deal with additional mental health challenges that we see you and I in our practice. And all this is kind of, it's kind of like playing the pull and push game, is that we're trying to pull things towards us that is healthy, and then somehow, somewhere, society is pushing up back us to something unhealthy. So how do we win this game?
Every choice I make, I decline another choice. Every choice I make, I gain something and I'm going to lose something. So based on all the choices what I have, that's a society expects of me, I also have an expectation of myself and the society. And in this game of negotiation, there are things that I'm going to gain and there are things I'm going to let go or give up. And that's what I think I have to choose. Like if I go somewhere and the society is expecting me to be a particular way and I'm not willing to, That's a choice. I have to give up the benefit that I think this group will give me because I'm not willing to pay the price for the other part. I'll let go of this group, but there's another group that might be more cohesive with my values.
So this is basically opportunity cost.
It's 8 billion people, Dan, on the face of the earth. Why am I stuck with the 100 here that are frustrating me? So what? Let them go. Find another 100. Find
Yeah.
2. 8 billion people on the face of the earth. Why would I sit here and just bitch about these 2 people? Let them go. And even if they're, even if they're your husband or wife or mother or father, sometimes, Dan, I say to people, it's like, fire that mother inside of your head. This is a woman who is at this age in front of you. Do you choose to relate or not? Because, right now you're dealing with a mother in your own head. That person is no longer there. That they sucked as a mother when you were a child? Yes, that's all they knew. Now, do you choose this woman who's in front of you or not? And you might even say, no, I don't. It's like, okay, then adapt. You want to see them once a week, once a month, never, every day? But choose the one that's in front of you if you're going to be with that person. So I think a lot of times we get caught in what's not in our control. And it's like other people's expectation. It's not in my control. Other people's need for me, that's not in my control. But I can negotiate at that moment internally first, and then communicate, deal with, contract, or let go.
Yes, but this is easier said than done, especially those dealing with HSP. They will always want to be able to do what is right for other people and not what is right for them. So then again, this is based on people who are not dealing with those kind of challenges.
Yes, I'm not talking at all about easy. I'm saying there's a path, but I'm definitely takes an effort. But my point is, it also takes an effort just to stay stuck in one place and bitch in your own head. It's not good for your body.
That is very, very true. But so overall, when it comes to your own journey, Fooja, how long did it really take you to be able to fully heal, to be able to let go of those addiction, either the smoking or the food or whatever it is? When did you actually one day say to yourself, enough with this life that I'm living, I need to change the narrative?
I told myself that by age 30, I will be married, I will have my business, I will, have a house with a picket fence. And I got all of that at 28, and I was absolutely miserable. That's when my journey of actually healing started. When I was 20 years old, I was about 25 years old, where this journey began. I'm 64.
Okay.
This is how long it's taking, and I can't even tell you that I'm done. I still go toward some healing and journey and meditation, and I still experience the physical cellular level trauma of the sexual abuse still tingling and releasing. So I hope that people don't think there's a magical wand that you just go buy it from, order it from Amazon, and, life used to wake up and it's all better. I know that, in our work, we do have Miracle Question, which is from, Solution Focus, but Miracle Question is a concept that says, if you had your idea, if you could create your ideal day, how would it be? And then from there on, it becomes a goal where you could shift internally and then externally do the things you do. But I know that we live in a society and you want everything right now. And you want everything in, a short, a short 2-minute clip that gives you everything. That's just not life. Life is a journey that you're going to experience. And if healing is your journey, that journey keeps, opening up and opening up and opening up for you. So I think that the love of the journey is important. Like, you're going to see a movie. This journey is your movie. Enjoy the movie, even if it's a horror movie that you created, or a drama, or sometimes comedy. It's like, where's the ending? Okay, it ends, you die, you move on. So it's more of really not holding the expectation of, when am I done? And I said that to myself a lot of times. It's like, it's still coming up. Like, when am I done? And then I just watch the growth that I've had. And every growth that I've had, I saw same thing you share with me, you know, every client shares, right? Do I have to still go through this? Well, if it's there, yeah, it's going to pop up. You'll know when it's no longer there because it just doesn't show up anymore. So
Mhm.
if it's showing up, yeah, it's still there and it's finding its place to come up. So all we could do is honor it. I remember, I don't know, you know, Ramdas?
Yes.
Yes, I was listening to one of his tapes and it says, you know, all my neuroses are like, I figured out they're like nuclear waste. It doesn't matter what I do and how much I shove them down on inside the ground. Once in a while, they just pop up. And I've
Yeah.
learned to just say, oh, welcome. Let me see now. What are you saying to me now? Because if, you know, at each age, we look at the same traumas or the same things from a different angle. And I think that's part of our growth.
Hmm. And also, it's very important to be self-aware because, again, if you start hiding all those traumatic experience or triggers that you've been avoiding all your life, you're not really aware of what you're experiencing at this given moment. And being mindful, living in this moment and not into the future, because this is what increases anxiety in each and every one of us. This is what people have the tendency to do. So, is it better to be able to just kind of like deal with it, face that trauma, try to find ways to resolve it, and then move forward instead of just shoving it under the rug?
You can't shove it. Dan, I wish people could shove it. They don't. It keeps coming up. It takes more effort. I'm sure everybody has probably tried to hold on to a foam in a pool and push it down.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of effort if you're constantly pushing it down. You're going to get an arm ache because it tries to come up and you're pushing down. It tries to come up, it's pushing down. It takes a lot of effort to push things down and they won't stay because it doesn't matter how much you try. That foam is not going to go down. It's still going to come up. So as you said, absolutely beautifully, it takes less effort to handle it. You might not know how to, and please go find out how to, you know, go through therapy, go to all the different ways that you could learn the skills of how to do this without re-traumatizing yourself and going to healing.
Mhm.
But it won't stay under the rug. It will keep coming up. So might as well handle it.
So,
Something that you said beautifully is also like the anxiety comes from the future.
right.
Yes, the anxiety comes from our delusion and hallucination of all negativity in the future. I'm sure if I just sit here and imagine a beautiful future all day, that I'm connected to the world, that I'm safe in the world, that all is well in the world, even if it goes up and down, even if I die, it's all going to be okay. I'm not going to have anxiety. I'm going to have this bliss experience.
Yes.
But our brain wants to protect us. So it has this way of creating like, oh, horror. What if this happens? You better be prepared. And
Mhm.
that's what we do to ourselves because we want to be prepared. But the news is, whatever you're trying to tell yourself to scare the crap out of yourself, you already know. When the shit happens, you're prepared. You can do it because you already know.
Absolutely. So before we end the podcast, Fooja, we just have a few minutes left. Where can people find you to be able to kind of seek your services?
Absolutely. You can find me at foojanzeine.com, FOOJANZEINE.com. You can go to all of my social media from there. All the social media are Dr. Foojan Zeine or Dr. Zeine. You can, if you find you want to know about more of the model, awareness integration, so awareness.integration.com. You want the app, you can go to foojan.com or go to Apple Store or Google Play and download the app. You got 3 days free and go experience it. Go experience the AI chatbot, ask a question, and it'll answer you from the model.
Beautiful. And before we end, what country are you from, Fooja?
Originally, I'm from Iran.
Iran. Okay, okay. The beautiful. Well, Fooja, that is all the time that we have for today's podcast. And again, thank you sincerely for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us. And we all appreciate your participating to this episode by sharing your personal traumatic journey in the USA as a foreigner and the many obstacles that you had to overcome to become the person that you are today. Now, may God bless you for all the trauma you had to face at such an early young age. Now, to our millions of listeners out there, We hope that you've enjoyed today's episode as much as we did. And also, we're very excited for what's ahead in season 32 of the Happiness Journey with Dr. Dan podcast, featuring a lineup of incredible guests with powerful stories that will continue to uplift and inspire all of you. Now, here are some concluding words of wisdom. To everyone who has carried the weight of growing up alone, facing unimaginable challenges far too early in life, your journey is a testament to extraordinary resilience. Just like today's guest on this podcast, having endured deep wounds of early abuse could have broken your spirit, yet here they stand, still rising. The effect of their self-esteem, body image, and relationship are real, but so is your courage to heal, to rebuild, and to reclaim your sense of self. Your story is not defined by what was taken from you, but by the power you found within yourself despite it all. Every step you take towards healing is an act of bravery. Every boundary you set is a declaration of self-worth. And every moment you choose to keep going lights a path for others who are still searching for hope. You are proof that strength is born in the hardest places and that a new chapter is always possible. My name is Dr. Dan Amzallag, and you may all keep pursuing your amazing journey in life.